Welcome to day 19 of our free sewing class. In today's class, just like we did on day 17 and day 18, we'll continue with our drafting. When you understand how to draft patterns, then it will make this sewing so easy for you because you will understand a lot of designs, different complex styles you'll be able to draft, cut, and sew. So that's why I don't want us to rush this aspect. And if you don't understand what I'm doing, please watch the videos over and over and over again until you get it. And before we finish this 30 days class, I'm going to teach you how to do some complex styles or how to understand some complex designs. So just be patient with me, stay with me as we go forward because we still have a lot to cover. Some days I might upload more than one videos. Just keep watching them and keep learning. And if you are new, I can assure you if you start from day 1 to day 18, you will gain a lot. So do well to go back to those days and watch them before you watch this day 19. Alright, in today's class, we'll learn how to draft a blouse or a top. The difference between this is it goes to the M line. You know the one we drafted the 17 and the 18 stopped at the waistline. So we'll be drafting a blouse with that. And if you know how to draft the basic bodies without that, if you don't want that too, you can do this one without that. But today we'll be learning how to draft with that. So as always, I'll put my reference line. I'll just draw a line. That is where I will start from. That is why I call it a reference line. And after drawing the reference line, I will measure from that line. That reference line serves as the shoulder line. Then I will measure from there to my waist line. That is the half length now. You should know what your half length is. So you draw the line. That is our waistline. Then from that reference line also, you measure to your blouse length, where you want your blouse to be. It depends on the type of blouse. Sometimes that is the style, and also it depends on your preference. Some people like their blouse short, maybe on top of their hip. Some people want it below their hip. Some people want it at their hip. So you measure the person. Be sure you are comfortable with the length you want the blouse to be. So you draw that line. I will call that line our hip line. So just as always, the same as the way we've done it before, you measure your 3 inches. You measure 3 inches. From that 3 inches, you measure 5 inches. From that 5 inches, you come down 1.5 inches. Like I said, I do this for almost all my clothes, and I don't have issues with the armhole fitting or the armhole area too tight or too loose. So if you can always do this, I call it my constant 1.5 inches constant. I always do it as long as I'm sewing a bodice or a blouse. Alright, so after drawing the shoulder slope, I will divide the shoulder to shoulder by 2, and I'll put the point. So, and I like doing it at 2 places so that I can get a straight line. But remember, the line is starting from my shoulder slope. It's not starting from that my reference line. When I'm cutting it, you understand, I just do it like this, but you know it, I will always cut off that shoulder slope. Alright, from there I will mark my armhole. In this case I'll measure 8 inches. And bust circumference divided by 4. Bust circumference divided by 4. I'll put whatever the value is. Then I will add 1 inch seam. I just love using 1 inch seam allowance. But as a beginner, you can use maybe 1.5 or 2 inches seam allowance. But I just feel 1 inch is always enough for me. So that is my 1 inch seam allowance. Then here, waist divided by 4. My waist circumference divided by 4. And this pattern will have that. So I will add 1 inch that allowance. I will add 1 inch sewing or seam allowance. Now I'll go to the hip. Okay, before going to the hip, let me join the points, the lines. That is from the bust line to the waistline. Okay, now let's go to the hip. On the hip divided by 4. This pattern we are drafting is actually for a blouse, a fitted blouse, not too fitted, not too loose. We'll still go to loose blouses. So hip divided by 4, then 1 inch seam allowance. I will not put that allowance on the hip line because my dart will not get to the hip. So I will just join the lines. It's already looking like a blouse, isn't it? One thing about sewing, it is complex and simple. Once you know the basics, then you can always do whatever you want. That is the bust measurement, the waist measurement plus that, and that is the hip. All right, now bust span divided by 2. I explained bust span divided by 2. You should know what bust span is. That is your nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2, so that I can draw my dart. Then I don't want the dart to get to the hip. There are some cases where your dart might get to your hip, but in this case, no, I don't want it. So I will go down from the waist by 5 inches. And the way we did for the one we drafted yesterday, I will measure where my bust point is. That is my shoulder to my bust. Then I will come down by 2 inches from that point, because I don't want my dart to start from the tip, from the highest part of my bust. Like I explained, you have to come down a little, maybe by 1 inch, 1.5 inches, or even 2 inches, depending on how big the person's bust is. So I just came down by 2 inches at this point. Then I will mark my bust span measurement at that point. Then I will draw a line. I'll draw a straight line. I will draw a straight line. So this line is where I will take my dart. And now the dart allowance I put is just 1 inch. So I will, on the waistline, just trying to be sure that line is straight enough. It's like it's not that straight, so let me make it straight. All right, so on the waistline I will take ½ inch to the right, ½ inch to the left, because I'm only taking 1 inch dart to the right, to the left. Then I will join it. Just watch as I will do the joining. So when I'm sewing, when I want to sew, this is the shape my dart will take. This part, you can take your dart to your hip line if your design or whatever you want to sew demands it. But for now, we are just taking this dart, and this type of dart is common in when you're sewing blouses or gowns. This is the type of dart. I'm sure you should have come across this type of dart. So if it can take it lower, it can go close to the hip line, but this is what I want it to be. And you just draw that curve, and basically that is it. You do your neckline depending on the type of, we'll still go to how to cut neckline in another class. So, and if you want to cut the back of this blouse, you should know how to cut that. The only difference will be the neckline. And if you want, the necklines might also even be equal depending on the style you want to sew. So I'll just do the neckline, then you put your zipper allowance at the back if your style of your design demands a zipper allowance at the back. Now you can leave your edge like this sharp, or you curve it. You can leave it sharp or you curve it. One thing about sewing is, just like there are different ways to kill a rat, so there are different ways to do whatever you want to do. But I'm just trying to teach you the simplest one as beginners. I hope you have learned. I won't be cutting the back of this. You should be able to cut the back yourself if you want to. You just transfer the darts and do the neckline, put your zipper allowance, and that's all. So thank you for watching this video. I'll see you in the next class.